If you're a busy professional buying an Airbnb, design can quietly turn into a second job before the listing ever goes live. I know, because when I was still working as a pharmacist, I didn't really have time to choose between 37 nightstands, chase furniture links, or answer 100 small setup questions that my contractors on site were asking me. The problem isn't that owners are bad at design most times. The problem is actually that most design processes hand the owner every single decision. And when you're working a full-time job, that doesn't work. So I built our process around a simpler rule. The owner should make a few big decisions, and the system should absorb the 1,000 little ones. And there are 4 decisions I think that the owner should keep. The first one is the guests and the capacity. So who is this house actually for? Is it for 2 families traveling together, a group visiting a national park, couples on a quiet weekend, or like a team gathering for a retreat? And that choice affects almost everything in design. It affects the number of beds, where people put their bags, how many people can sit together, whether the dining table works, and what photos need to prove, essentially. Because a room isn't useful just because it looks good. It needs to do a job for a guest. Like if this sofa is too small for a large group, don't buy it. The second big decision is the all-in budget. Not the budget for just a sofa, but the budget for the whole launch. Furniture, mattresses, window treatments, lighting, kitchen setup, outdoor spaces, random decor, delivery replacements, and the surprises that show up after you start measuring an Airbnb or a home. And a budget isn't there to make the design cheap. It's there to force the right trade-offs before money gets scattered. And the third decision is the visual direction. The owner should be able to say, this needs to feel warm and grounded, or playful and family-friendly, or simple and modern. And that's the real decision that owners need to be making. Choosing every lamp, rug, chair, paint color, and piece of art isn't the decisions they should be making. And once the direction is clear, the individual choices should support the same story instead of becoming a collection of random things that look super good online. The fourth decision is where to spend for the guest experience. Maybe the extra money belongs in better sleeping capacity, so maybe doing some pull-out couches. Maybe belongs in a hot tub, a game room, almost always a hot tub, an outdoor gathering space, or one room that becomes the reason someone stops scrolling, like a theater. And that choice should come from the market, the guests, and the property. It shouldn't come from copying the most expensive listing you saw on Instagram. Otherwise, it could literally just be a waste of money, and that's a bad return on your money. Once those 4 decisions are made, the process should take over. That means scanning and measuring the real rooms, planning furniture at the right scale, checking walkways and sleeping layouts, building one coherent shopping list with links, quantities, and alternate products in case things go in back order, tracking the total budget before orders go out, connecting the design, delivery, setup, install, photos, and the final guest experience. This is the part that most owners never see when they compare 2 different design proposals. And one proposal might look super good because it gives you the mood board, the product list, but if it quietly sends hundreds of choices, measurements, substitutions, delivery problems, install questions back to you, it's turning you, the owner, into a project manager. And you can't be doing that when you're working a full-time job or you were a high-income paid professional like I was before. And that's exactly what I didn't want when I was a pharmacy manager. I wanted to make the decisions that actually required my judgment, then get back to my job in my life. I didn't want design to become another job. And if you're still deciding what kind of Rural Airbnb to buy, the free Rural Airbnb Mini-Course is the first link below, by the way, in the description. And the main lesson is, though, even though it tells you how to do almost everything, the lesson is that the owner should not care less. But the lesson is that a good process protects the owner's attention, and you need a clear head to make these good decisions. You decide who the property serves and what the real budget is, what the experience should feel like, and where the biggest guest experiences bets belong. So then the system basically handles the little decisions in a way that supports those choices. And that's why a smoother process can cost more than just a shopping list. You aren't only paying for attractive rooms, you're also paying for the ability to remove decision fatigue, avoid expensive mismatches, avoid the project moving without becoming the messenger between every product vendor and installer. So if you're setting up an Airbnb right now, ask yourself one question. Which decisions truly need my judgment? And which ones should this process be built to absorb? And tell me which part of the setup you would most want off your plate. Room planning, sourcing, budget, tracking, or install. And if you want to see why the deal still has to work before the design, watch my video called I Bought a $170,000 Home. It did $70,000 next.